Yo sé que esta es una de las conferencias más esperadas en este programa del Día de la Mentefactura. Se encuentra con nosotros Tash Abash. Ella va a presentar la conferencia La Nueva Frontera de la Cultura Corporativa. Voy a leer un poquito acerca de ella. Tash Abash es una diseñadora de vida y una misionaria corporativa que busca energizar a los humanos para expandir su poder y potencial. Actualmente trabaja en LinkedIn con más de 10 años de experiencia como líder en gestión de talento, estrategia de carrera y dinámicas de cambio. También es coach de transformación. Su compañía Believe You, Me Too se especializa en transformaciones personales y profesionales, abogando por que las personas den un paso hacia su autenticidad, alineen su pasión con su cheque de pago y encuentren la libertad para crear su propia realidad. Recibamos como se merece a Tash Abash aquí en el Valle de la Mentefactura.
Buenas tardes. Ooh, very loud. Hola. Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be here with you guys at the Dia de la Mentefactura. How have these last 2 days been? It makes it feel great. There's a lot of energy in the room. Like, everyone is really vibing high. I love it. I'm here for it. So this is a really incredible time to be here, and especially because today, I was listening at the inauguration yesterday. I learned a lot of stuff. So today, right, is the International Day of Creativity and Innovation, right? That's very exciting, and I think it's appropriate that we're here because Guanajuato, you guys have a lot of innovation that you want to do, right? Yeah? Good, good. Because you guys are in the business for transformation, and I think I kind of am too, right? So, just to kind of start you off with a little bit about me, I have had a very interesting career, and I love every single minute of it. It started off as me being a brat in high school, trying to convince my principal that I didn't need gym. I said, I'm an animal. I'm born to run, but not for fun. So no gym. And then I went to university. And at university, I studied interior design, which basically meant my thesis was a coloring book. It's very fun and very creative. And after that, I went through almost every single industry you can imagine in my career. I was in hospitality, I was in finance, I was in construction, restaurants, hotels, pharmaceuticals. I have a very sexy flu commercial out there. If you need a flu shot, it's good, let me tell you. And tons of other things. But that all kind of landed me to where I am here. However, it wasn't always easy. What happened, which one of the pivotal moments in my career, was I was leaving a company where I came in. I first applied for the job. Of course, they didn't give it to me, and I was like, why you do that? And then they gave me another shot. And when they gave me that shot, I happened to take the biggest client that they had, and I helped expand them across the nation. We opened up 7 different brands, over 200-300 hotels across the nation in America. It was incredible. And so when it was time for me to move on, I went to the CEO and I told him, I thought we had a good relationship, and I said, it's time for me to go. And he goes, Taj, you're really great, I don't want you to leave. But right now, you're a big fish in a little pond. How are you gonna feel when you go out into the world and you're a little fish? A little fish in a big pond. I was like, well, Max, I guess I'll have to become a big fish, you know? Just keep swimming, just keep swimming. I remember that. And eventually, you start to swim, and that led me here to LinkedIn. I have been here for 5 years, and it's been an incredible 5 years. And in that time, I have helped hundreds of my colleagues find their voice, their authenticity, and their thought leadership. I have helped thousands of companies completely realign their recruiting strategy and build diverse and winning teams. And then my most favorite part is I have helped tens of thousands of people activate their brand and create a life and career that truly fits their dreams. And that is what I love to do most. And so it's great that we're here today because, as you guys know, things are changing, right? And we need to make a change with them too. And I've been out in the world with my own business as a career coach, specializing in personal and professional transformations, helping people understand and seek out change for the better in their life. So because corporate is such a vast place of misunderstandings, I personally think many people don't understand how to use corporate America or companies or jobs to their best interest. And so we're going to go through that today. We're here to talk about the next frontier of corporate culture. And I think all of you want to know how, as a talent or a company, whether you're in university, you're fresh in your job, or you work at a company, you're a manager, you're CEO, you all want to know how to stay competitive, right? In the wake of social consciousness, because things are really, really changing. So, it'd be remiss if I didn't talk about some of the elements that have changed, right? We've got COVID. COVID really gave us flexibility. It gave us autonomy. It told our employers that we are reliable to get the work done that we need to get done, regardless of whether you can see me or not. Zoom cameras off today. No camera Fridays. That's my philosophy. And we have kids. Did you know 50% of the workforce is millennials now? And each and every generation has a different idea of what they want their life to be. So Gen Z, I'm afraid of them. Some of you might be in the room. Y'all have crazy ideas. And we are ready for it, though. Well, I'm ready for it. And we're going to get everyone else ready for it, and for you, too. And the last thing is AI. We're at a tech conference, right? Generative AI is like all the buzzwords out here. And the funny part about it is, honestly, you don't really have to do anything anymore. I don't even have to do this presentation, all right? All I have to do is go, Alexa, how does social consciousness play its part in corporate culture? And she goes, okay, would you like to know the weather today? No, I asked you a question, Alexa. Okay, and then she'll give me an answer. Oh, this is the world of work changing. I forgot that slide. It's really pretty. But this is Alexa's answer to me, straight from ChatGPT. There's a lot of words on there, but what you'll see here is the next frontier, corporate culture, is going to include a lot of these things. Inclusivity, diversity, addressing systematic biases, mental health and well-being, bringing your whole self to work. And a lot of people find that to be a myth, a legend, a cliche. I can tell you that it's not. It is available to each and every one of you if that's what you truly want. But this is the future, right? This is what AI has told us. More human-centered and purpose-driven approach to business. And that means the way you were doing things 30 years ago is no longer the way you can do them today. And you all in this room and your governor, and I'm very impressed, you guys are on board with that. You are ready to make that wave and make that change. But it's going to be a little bit harder than you thought, if you don't also change your mindset with it too, right? Big fish, little pond. Big fish, every pond. And each and every one of you has a chance to be that. So, there we go. This right here is my vision of a relationship. As talent and companies, you all have a relationship with one another, whether you like to or not. It could be a situationship, you know. We don't really know what it is, but it is. You learn together, right? We're not teachers, we're all learners. You learn together, you grow together. Sometimes you even eat together, and you definitely spend a whole hell of a lot of time together, sometimes even more than you spend time with your family. So this is a relationship. However, right now, it's not working. The relationship that we have is not actually symbiotic for everyone involved. It bleeds the talent dry, and the corporations get big. It leaves us sad and upset and frustrated and drained, and it means, I don't want to go to work. I don't want to do anything Becky tells me to do today. I'm tired, okay? But we don't want that, because your work is such an amazing opportunity for you to create, for you to change the world and create impact. It's a resource. It's a resource. I told you I worked at LinkedIn. Actually, let me take it back. Oh, I forgot to tell you. My name is Taja Vajay. I went, really, I skipped over that part. It was supposed to come after the LinkedIn thing. So that's my name. And I often tell LinkedIn this too, but the way I see it is, I don't work for LinkedIn. LinkedIn works for me because of what it is that I do at that company. I tell them what I do. They give me a set of things, and I say, all right, this is what I'm going to create. I'm going to activate communities that you guys aren't tapping into. Right now, I'm a program manager. So I design programs to attract Black, Latino, and women into our engineering department, specifically those demographics. And so that's something that we hadn't been focusing on, right? We need engineers. We'll just get all the ones that we can find, and then it ends up being a good old boys club of engineers. And so we need to do something different, and that is what I do. But they don't know what's out there. They don't have the bandwidth to tap into the market. I do. And so that's why I tell them what I want to do. And that's how our relationship is great. And my brand, they value me, right? People in the C-suite, most of the C-suite knows who I am, and I appreciate that, right? And I know who they are too. And that's a good relationship, but I know a lot of people don't have that. So now it comes to social consciousness. This is the way that the world is changing. We need to be able to take the relationships that we have and shift them, but we need more direction. And the world is moving into social consciousness, so these levels right here are interesting things that you should take a look at. Now, there's a lot here, but don't be afraid, because a lot of this is already kind of ingrained in you. And actually, I took some time to look into the Mexican culture, and I know what I learned is that very dedicated to collaborative work. So be impressed with yourself that the collaborative side of this already nailed, right? However, what I also learned is that sometimes, most of the time, the sentiment is to give more of themselves to the company, right? They forget about their needs, and it ends up being the company's needs. And unfortunately, that doesn't actually allow an individual to grow because it's no longer your life, right? So we need to get to this resonance section. We need to get to that interconnectedness, right? We talked about Guanajuato going out into the world, and then more of the world coming to Guanajuato, right? That's what that interconnectedness is. And that's where the power of tapping into social consciousness is really going to help us get there by changing the way we think, right? Mental health is all about that. Well-being is all in your head. Changing the way you think and being relentless about it. Being fearless about who you are, why you're here, and what you are going to do with your time and your energy, okay? And that's why I tell LinkedIn what I do. Because I don't go to work, I don't know, to do mindless things. I go to work, I spend my time to create. My brand at LinkedIn is to create culture and cultivate community. And that is what I do. I do that for the Black talent in an employee resource group around the world. I do that for the companies. I do that for my engineers. I do that for myself. That's what I do. And that is ingrained in social consciousness. Because what it's doing is forcing us to abandon some of our old practices, and I forgot what I was going to say. This I hear the sci-fi music over here, and it's like, oh, aliens attack. However, work-life harmony is where I want to go next. They like to call it work-life balance, but your life and your work should never be 50-50. I was going to tell you maybe 20%, but that's even too much. I don't want to even say that. Because if you're going to work for someone else, you don't want, that's not going to help your life. And they say it should be work-life harmony, right? The balance is a joke, but the harmony is what really gives you that kind of motivation to be able to go to your boss and ask for what you need, instead of just saying, oh, I'll be okay. Oh, maybe I'll get the promotion next year. Or, oh, I feel like I'm being discriminated against, and I just have to take it. That's not fair to you. That's not fair to me, and I don't even work with you, right? Because when you have that, you're going to go home, take it to your friends and to your family, and that's not good. So if you have harmony, it makes it so much easier. And you, showing up as yourself, having your harmony, having your energy, gives other people permission to do that too. People often talk a lot about my energy in a room, and I love that. It's a compliment to me, but it commands the space and the attention, right? You know that I'm here for a reason, and I feel like everyone in the room could do that and be that and have that. So work-life harmony is something that we really have to work at. Now, the reason why balance and harmony are a joke is because 40% of people say that they feel isolated at work. 40%. FOMO is real. You left your authentic self at home, and now you're at work. And as you can see, to feel left out is a deeply human problem. It breaks us down. It can even kill you. It manifests inside your body as pain, as dis-ease, as all these things that make you shut down. And that's not what you want to do. You actually want to open up, right? We said 30 years we've done so much. We've gone from the poorest to the 6th largest economy in Mexico. And we got another 30-year plan coming. That 30 years is going to move fast, right? And you have to make the changes now and be consistent at it. Because in the next 30 years, we can't have 40% of people still feeling isolated at work. Innovation does not come from pain. Innovation does not come from sadness. Innovation comes from freedom, right? Truth, passion, power. How many of you feel like you have that at work right now? Truth, passion, power. Raise your hands. All right, look, we got a sprinkle. I like that. That's good. That's good. However, I wanted the whole room to raise their hand, right? Everyone should have that. Because then, do you guys love your job? The one who raised your hands? You love your job? You love what you do? Perfect. There you go. Listen. And that's what you want. Because when you're in that space of joy, then you can start thinking of new ideas really easily. We need to get away from this stat where most of people feel isolated at work. Because groupthink is the antithesis of innovation, right? We said earlier that the culture tends to leave their own needs on the floor for the company. However, if we keep doing that as a part of our culture, we're never going to get to where we're going. We're never going to see the change, because that means everyone's saying the same thing and doing the same thing, and no one is breaking the mold. No one is changing what needs to happen next. And so we need to consider that. We need to consider what we want to do to really make the world that we want to see. And that's how, because we need to foster a culture of belonging. Now, this is a little bit of a new buzzword that's hit the town, belonging. Once upon a time, it was like you weren't allowed to belong at work. Those were the rules. It's like, you want a job? Sign your soul right here on this dotted line, and you no longer belong to you. You belong to me. You know? That doesn't feel good. It feels yucky. And there's no amount of money in the world that I will take to feel like less than. Every day, 40 hours a day, maybe starting at 9 o'clock if you're lucky, usually 10. Okay? 10 to 6, 10 to 7, but a culture of belonging, right? We need that. This is what the next frontier is going to have, and any company that doesn't have belonging, they're not going to, that talent is out the door, right? Belonging helps for talent retention, development, and innovation, as we're talking about here, but let's just look at it more closely. This is belonging. Being seen, being connected, supported, right? We're looking at here. Employees are recognized, rewarded, and respected by their colleagues when they're being seen. And this is easy to do, just in the form of a quick note to say, thank you so much for sharing that. I got on a call at work the other week. They asked me to speak, and I literally went on the call and told hundreds of my employees that I was about to leave, that there was one point in time where I considered walking out the door, and I'm an emotional person, so I'm like bawling as I'm doing this. Like, I was gonna leave. But I love you guys so much. And that is what tore me apart. It was like, I'm not getting what I need in my day job, but I have this community that I feel like I belong to so much that I didn't want to go after what I wanted, right? I was giving up myself for the company instead of for my own needs. And so then I had to say on the same call, I love y'all, but not more than my money, okay? Dollar bills, y'all. That's what I want. And so I had to have that understanding of the value of belonging and what that meant for me and all the different things I can create and the power that I have. But that also gives me the understanding that I am valuable on the market. I can get any job I want. So LinkedIn better pay attention to what I want, because I will be out the door, tears and all, but I'm gonna go get the bag, and then I'll come back. We are renowned for belonging at our company. We have the #1 safest site in the world for 5 years. We have, we're one of the top companies for culture and belonging, and the proof of that is what we call like our returners, where people leave and then come back happily. They leave, they explore something for a few years, and then they come back, and it's just like, oh, I'm at home. I should have always been here. Why'd I leave? But you have to go sometimes because you learn. However, these belongings, being connected, that interconnection between you and the world, being supported by your peers and senior leaders, like I said before, the C-suite knows my name. They help me. I can ping any of them and say, hey, I need some help. I don't know an answer to this. And they will say, okay. And I'm just one out of 20,000. And that makes me feel like I belong. Then you have the proud. Very proud of what I do. There's some folks in the room who are also proud of what I do, what they do, not what I do, what they do. And you should be proud at work too. Because belonging is good for business. These are the stats for all the managers and CEOs and executives in the room. The proof is in the pudding. 56% increase in job performance, 88% higher productivity, right? 50% drop in turnover risk, so you're retaining your talent, they love what they do. 75 reduction in 6 days. Now that's not to say that you can't take vacation, but more scheduled vacation is actually better than unscheduled sick days. So this is a really important stat. And that last one, that's the one that you guys really want. The increase in employer recommendations. Because basically that means that companies come to you. You're telling people that you love work, and they're going back to their job and saying, it's not fair. I want to love work too. The governor talked about the automotive industry, and you've got all the different luxury car brands here, right? That's great. However, there is a culture of, what did he say, assembling and not designing, right? That's because the companies come here with their own mission and plan, and they want you to do for them. But we are human beings, not human doings. So that's not right, right? You want that company to come to you because your city has a culture of belonging, and that energy is attractive. It brings those big brands to Guanajuato, and they say, we want to be here because you guys are happy at work. And then we want you to show us how your culture is performing, how your culture is flourishing and expanding. And that changes the game. That gives you more access to opportunities, bigger resources, bigger places to go, people to tap into, right? You can do that in so many different ways, but one of them is just by energizing your own culture and saying, we know who we are. We know what we want. We will allow you into our space, but you will treat us with respect because we belong here, right? And you're coming into us. So it can't be the other way around. Because again, you can't innovate when you feel isolated. You can't innovate when your mental health is poor, and that's what we need. We need creation. Oh, and also money. Money, promotions, satisfaction in that monetary, financial way. But how do we break through? How do we break through the noise? That's a good question. So I consider myself a corporate crusader, and I am constantly trying to help understand what the breakthrough is. How do we get more people to fall in love at work? Not with their coworkers, but with what they do. So let's get started. It takes two to tapatio, right? So the first very important thing, we're going to go through three things. The first important thing is skills first hiring, right? And I like this. I learned a little dance the other day, one of this, you know? Anyway, skills first hiring. Does anyone have an idea of what that might be? I bet you do in your head. I know you do. Well, skills first hiring is the emphasis on the individual and essentially the value that they bring in their diversity of thought and experience. It's not about the school you went to or the pedigree that you have or the companies that you worked at, right? And this goes for talent and for companies. So we're going to talk about both sides of the fence in this talk today, okay? And these next slides are going to get a little wordy, but stay with me. So, what it is and what it isn't. Skills-based hiring. So first, it's a recruitment strategy, like I said, focused on expertise. Each and every one of you in this room is an expert at what you do, right? I know that. I may not know your names, but I know that you're an expert. And that is what you need to bring to the table. That is what you go to companies with, and that is what companies should be looking for. But experts come in all shapes and sizes, and a lot of times they don't look like you. So if you have a culture that's focused on hiring talent that does similar things that you do, that looks like you, that came from the same city as you, you're not going to get the innovation that you're looking for, right? That's back to groupthink. But it's also brand positioning from a place of value and impact. And that's specifically for the companies as well. We'll go through this later, but LinkedIn has a very set and firm vision, mission, and values. And that is what keeps people coming back. That is what the employees are there to do. And that value and impact resonates throughout the world. People know. And your company can have that too. It's very important. And then, of course, it expands your talent pool and employee retention, which is all important because the heart of the company, right here, that's you. And that retention is important because a company can't grow, you can't innovate, you can't literally take your foundation and change it into something new without that, right? I also learned the other day the city's been rebuilt several times, 4 to be exact. I'm very impressed by that. But doing that each and every time required someone to think outside the box. It required the people who were there before to know and understand and want to step up and do it again. Because not everyone would have done that. But now, what it isn't. It's not a place for unconscious bias or discrimination. It's not a place to manipulate the talent pipeline, right? And this actually happens a lot, especially with diverse talent. As a Black woman, there are often times where I'm put into an interview process just because they can't hire the person they want without having a Black person on the lineup. And that sucks because I waste my time, I waste my energy, I think it's something real, and I'm excited about it. And then when I get in there, it's just like, tomar el pelo, you know? This is ridiculous. Why am I here? What do you guys want from me? I'm better than this, and I don't mean that to be pretentious, but I am. You haven't looked past the color of my skin or anything about me to know that I'm actually the best person for this job. So there has to be a lot of variety. Now let's get into some stats, right? And I want you all to pull out your phones too. I'm going to QR code you to death, okay? So good there. We have a thing at LinkedIn called the economic graph. We are literally mapping out the digital infrastructure of the world, okay? And this right here is a fun tool to play with, very fun. The link takes you right to it. So you can see before we get into here, we know these things because of the economic graph. And you can see here, 9% globally. When you put in skills first hiring, it increases your candidate pools of workers without bachelor's degrees. We talked about education being important, and it is, but it's not the only thing. And if we're talking about diversity of thought and experience, then do we need the university? Does everyone have to have a degree? No, and they shouldn't, because, life is better lived when it's different. Now, this also helps women in the workplace. We have notoriously been undercut, underpaid, undervalued. However, with skills-based hiring, it gives us that power back. It gives us that belonging, that acknowledgement that we are just as smart and just as good as our male counterparts. And then, of course, we talked about it before, millennials, Gen Z, these numbers are fantastic. If anyone told you that it was going to be hard out there getting a job, that could very well be true, but it doesn't have to be. And if you take your whole self to work, it doesn't have to be for you either. So play around with this economic graph when you have a chance. It's very fun because it shows you things like this. Ta-da! I went in and did a little play so you guys can see what skills-based hiring, skills-first hiring will do for you. So here, we talked about education, right? In the manufacturing industry in Mexico, skills-first hiring would allow 12 times more candidates without bachelor's degrees to have successful, impactful employment that allows them to do more than just eat and put a roof over their head, that allows them to take vacation, that allows them to support their family, right? This very familial-based culture in Mexico, and that is okay. But that doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice what you want to do in that regard. So skills-first hiring opens up so many opportunities. So many. This is how you stay competitive. Women want jobs too, believe it or not. So this is what you can do. A lot of people aren't doing this. They are stuck in their ways. They think their hiring doesn't need to change. Well, I've talked to them personally, okay? They think it doesn't need to change, and it's the craziest thing. It's very hard not to roll my eyes sometimes because it just doesn't work, and this is the proof. And then we talk about gender and impacts growth. And I did this one in the technology industry, right? We talked about tech, cybersecurity is big. There's a lot of things happening here. And we have 8% more women. Now, technology is an industry that people think a lot of women aren't in. However, if we open our scope to what we're looking for, then we can get 8 times more women in the field. That's incredible, right? And we're still increasing men. There's still room for everyone. But this is what I like to call bring your values to work, okay? You have to know who you are and what you want in order for it to go here. And the last thing I want to say is the 2 words that I want to impress upon you the most are self-respect. Skills-first hiring is about self-respect for the candidate. You really, really have to value you, not as a worker, but as a person, you. And if you respect yourself and you go into that job interview, you will win. You will tell beautiful stories of all your strengths. You will be transparent about your weaknesses because that helps you grow. And the manager, the hiring manager, they will have no choice but to hire you. And one thing that LinkedIn does do well, I told you I've been there for 5 years, I've got a brand, I've done a lot of things. I did not get hired the first time I interviewed, or the second, or the third, or the fourth. No, I'm kidding, the fourth one I did. However, what they did was the one job that I applied for wasn't the right fit, but they loved me. And so they went back to their teammates and said, I've got a great candidate. How can we find her a job? And then it got down to what I wanted. The second interview, I'll tell you, I just bombed it. I totally bombed it. I actually said sex, and I was like, oh, I'm dead, right? It was terrible. But that happens too. However, they didn't hold it against me, and they allowed me to try again. And that time, I knocked it out the park. It was incredible. So keep that in mind as well. Very important. Now we're going on to number 2. Talent development, right? This is super important. People don't just want to do one thing. You know that, because multitasking is a word. It's not an effective word, but it is a word. So you have to be willing to develop yourself and develop, your talent. What do I want to say? Your teams, actually. People go to work for more than a paycheck. Social consciousness is about humanity. And if you've got people who are going to work because they're growing, then that's where you want to be. What we say is you've got 90 days to learn your job, and then after that, think about what else you want to do. We'll get to that a little bit later, but let's talk about what talent development is and what it isn't. Upskilling. This is like my absolute favorite thing. Go to work, I have a job. I actually did this. I wanted to take an inner MBA class. It was about spirituality in the workplace. And I went to my VP and I said, I want to learn this. Chris, will you pay for this for me, please? I will bring it back to the team. I will infuse it into what I do. And he said yes, because now I'm growing in new directions. It has nothing to do with my job, but I've got new skills that are going to let me innovate in new directions and have new ideas, like what I'm doing for them already, right? I'm also big on belief. So the belief that humanity is more valuable than money. That's what we need. And then, of course, like we said before, designing diverse and winning teams that succeed. I forgot that. We'll get to it. Sorry, I realized I forgot something, but it's okay. This is what talent development is. Now, what it isn't. It's not an emphasis on the talent gap or in education or abilities. We kind of talked about that. It's not forced learning of antiquated ideas. It's not about, hey, I do this one job and you have to do it exactly like me, right? That's the only way you can go. We talk about ladder promotions, where you go from one job to a senior version of the next job, and you have to learn very specific, detailed things. That's not what it should be. They say if you are indispensable at your job, you should not be. That's the worst. If you have a job that only you can do, you will never get promoted or grow, right? Because they have to keep you where you are. So you have to kind of move out of that. And then, of course, the lack of love and privilege freely available to receive. Now, the two words I want to leave you with here are self-love, because you really, really do have to love yourself in order to be able to make change in a workplace that, for so many years, has not wanted to change. Because you're going to hear no, you're going to get stopped. People tell me all the time that I shouldn't be able to do what I do. We have this thing called up and over, where you get a promotion to a higher role, but you also change departments. They say, it's impossible to do it. And I say, ha-ha, watch me work. Because that's exactly what I did. And I believed in myself. And I let no one tell me no, because I love what I do, right? I create culture and cultivate community. And I wanted to make sure that I do that. I pressed upon that, and I got what I wanted. And it also came with more money, ha-ha. And then, of course, privilege. We all have privilege. That's a spicy word. People think that only certain people have privilege, and that's not true. You all are something special. You are unique. You've got something in you that no one else has, and that is your privilege. Exercise that. You need that to take it with you everywhere you go in your career. Oh, back up. Oh no, this is right. So, when it comes to talent development, LinkedIn is top-notch, because I believe that majority of our employees live by these values. When I went to work at LinkedIn, I didn't know I wanted to work there. I knew that I wanted to help change people's lives at work. I had to find the company that did that. And that's how I got to LinkedIn, because their vision is real. Create economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. I am here on behalf of my company, but that also ties into what we do at LinkedIn, right? Everything about my life folds into this vision, and not because it's LinkedIn's vision, because my vision aligns with LinkedIn. My vision for my life is to enrich the Black human experience. Now, I often add Black and brown in there because I want that too, right? I think we all deserve a better human experience for ourselves. The equality, the equity, all of that. So that vision put me here because this company is creating economic opportunity for the people that I want to help too. So now we've got that alignment. And like I said before, I feel like I belong. So when you have that alignment between your vision and the company's vision, you will create that space. You stay competitive because you know what you want, you know where you're going, and no one can deter you from that. And then the mission. Connect the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful. We're going to go through a lot of that today, but that's what you all want too, right? Changing the culture, making it up. You can't be innovative if you're stuck, right? You can't be productive and or successful. We only have 30 years. It's going to go by in the blink of an eye. And so we got to get here. Now, I bring all this up because not only does every company need to have one of these, but every individual needs to have one too. So if you don't have a personal mission and vision and value statement, do not leave out of here today without making time to think about that, to know who you are and where you're going, because that's the only way you're going to get there. And now, I want to show you a little bit about how LinkedIn does talent development, right? This is what, and these numbers are old because we're actually getting new members on the platform every 2 seconds. So by the time I put this slide up there, it's already changed. It's at about 900 million members, okay? 900 million members. Interconnectedness. If you want the world to come to you, there's a lot of world on LinkedIn, okay? There's a lot of world, and they're looking for you. We talked about education in schools. We've got actually 127,000 schools on LinkedIn right now, and this is how we're connecting the opportunity, because we get the people in the schools, we upskill them, we let them take the skills that they have and go and get the jobs, work at the companies that are going to empower them and encourage them to grow and to be free and relentless with their ideas. And then, of course, the knowledge. We're all learners. We have LinkedIn Learning, and we've got millions of different courses to teach you anything that you want, anything. I often go on there and learn about what I want to do for another job, right? Learn those new skills, get the certificate, tell people that I know. It's good to have that constant learning. But talent development is important because the other side of self-love is privilege. And this is where you exercise your privilege in this ecosystem, okay? And number 3 is next play culture. Now, what we call next play culture is the idea that you are ever growing, right? My company, Believe You Me, we specialize in expanding power and potential, allowing people to create their own reality. And that sits in this vision of next play culture, where as soon as you come in, you need to be realigning your reality to what's happening in the company. Like I said before, 90 days to learn your job, then go to your manager and say, what's next? My manager came to me and said, all right, what do you want to do next, Taj? I don't know, figure out how to do the job that I have now. But I couldn't do that. I had to do more. I have to keep growing. I cannot stagnate. And that's what this culture is about. Once you get a job, you should be looking for the next thing to keep you motivated, innovative, thinking outside the box. So what it is and what it isn't. It is an affirmation of growth in industry knowledge and skills. It is the confirmation that you know what you're doing, you're an expert, we talked about that before, and you can take your skills all around the world. But here, when you foster that culture of belonging, you'll go out into the world and then come back. You'll bring those learnings back with you and change this culture and shift it. You stay competitive because you're worldly. Your vision has expanded. Your perspective has grown. You can see things from 30,000 feet all the way down to 10 feet. And that gives you better access to opportunity, right? You can see far and you can go far. And when you have that, people want that. When you have a sense of freedom at work and at home, in harmony, people want that. They will come. Companies will come. I teach people how to energize their LinkedIn so that companies come to them. And it's amazing how it happens. They have a profile, they say, oh, I'm not getting many hits. And I sit down with them, 20 minutes, and then a day later, they got 5 hits. That's not rocket science. That is a very specific way of telling your story in this next play affirmation of growth and knowledge and skills and experience. That's having faith in yourself and your vision and your place in the company. And when you do that, when you put that out there, you will receive back everything that's available to you. And we saw the economic graph. Whatever you want. You want schools? We got schools. You want jobs? We got jobs. You just got to put it out there. And then, of course, encourage dedication, vision, mission, and values. We talked about that. Now, what it isn't is the retirement of non-effective employees. That is not what this is about. Because we like age. We like young, we like old, we like in the middle. Everyone has that experience. And it's not about chasing money or status or promotions. And last but not least, not about manipulating self-esteem and abusing corporate trust. And those are the 2 words that I want you guys to take away today. Self-esteem as talent, you need that. Because what we like to say is, what I always ask for, the opportunity to fail forward. I want a runway to fail. I take on roles that I have no idea what I'm doing, and that is great because I can grow. I know at least that I have esteem in myself, that I belong. I'm in the right place. And although this job may look scary right now, it won't be. I'll figure it out. And if I don't, that's okay. It's okay to make a mistake. Especially as diverse talent, we have been conditioned to be terrified to fail at work because it makes you think you're going to lose your livelihood and lose your money. And that shouldn't be true. It is in a lot of places, but it should not be. And that's how you stay competitive. You let people know that you're allowed to fail here. Because out of failure comes innovation, right? You have to know what not to do in order to get to what to do. And that's what you want. So that's how you stay competitive. Give people the space to grow, to fail, to get back up again, you know? And then, of course, trust. You have to trust that your company is going to support you in your growth and understand. There are plenty of times where I have been faced with mistrust in the office, managers, and it's just gross, right? It doesn't make you feel like you belong. I did want to share one instance about like belonging and mistrust. There was one time at a company, I had a manager, she wasn't the best, but I was trying. However, my father had recently passed, and that was tough, right? I took a few days off work, but I came back, and I'm just trying to get into the flow of things. And she comes up to my desk specifically to talk to everyone about her grandfather's 98th birthday. And I'm just kind of like, do you not see me here, right? Do you not understand what I just went through? I am happy for your grandfather, but take that conversation someplace else. Instantly, I felt like I didn't belong. I felt like I couldn't grow there. I felt like she was not going to let me succeed. And just from that small comment, I knew it. And I was right. And I left not too soon after that, because that's a mistrust. I don't believe that she cares about me as a person. I'm just a chair filler, like a Oscars seat filler, you know? And I'm not making a lot of money for it, so that's not fun either. Now, here's some good stuff. If you've been on LinkedIn, you may have seen this, right? This is where we get some access to opportunity going. So if you are talent, or also a combination, if you look up any company, any school, anything you need, you can find people who work there. You don't even find work that you work. You see where they live, what they did before, you know, all these different stats. And this is how you get that connectedness. So if you are going to school or if you're going to a job, you know who's there. That's how I got my job at LinkedIn. I went on I said I just knew I needed to work at LinkedIn. Didn't know why, didn't know how, but I knew. I went right to one of these tools, and I found someone that worked at LinkedIn, and I also found people that I knew that they knew. They didn't know me. But I went to my friends and said, I am looking to get a job. Can you connect me with this person? And they both said yes, and they reached out, and then he worked with me throughout the course of my what felt like 1,000,000 interviews to get to where I am. But even that made me feel like I've belonged. And now, I am an extremely competitive employee on the market, right? LinkedIn has me. If you can create that within your company, then you will get the best talent and retain the best talent. And if you are the talent, then you will feel the best and be the best and show up as the best, and everyone will know it. Now, this other side is if you are dabbling into your skills-first hiring and you want to know, well, if I'm in manufacturing and I'm just assembling, but I want to get designing in my life, how do I transfer my skills? You can go to linkedin.com and figure that out so that you can tell a strong story of your experience in this other industry. I do that all the time, and it's really quite phenomenal. People are super impressed with the fact that the one skill I had, right, my super sexy flu commercial, it gave me so many different opportunities. And I just tell that story 1,000,000 different ways, and I literally can show up in a positive light in so many different industries. And that's what you want. And if you don't have the words, LinkedIn has them for you. So just go, you can find them. You can even take assessment tests to let companies know that you are skilled in this. We talked a little bit before about cybersecurity, and people may be feeling a little hesitant to get into that world. Well, why be hesitant anymore? You can go on here, take SQL, learn it from LinkedIn Learning, and then assess yourself to prove to you that you knew what you were doing the whole time, and you know where you're going, and you will get there. So this is important for both companies and talent. You can use it both ways. And we like to do this little thing called Rock Your Profile. I have this here, but I have on the side a learning course if you want to watch it by video, which is free. And then I have one-sheeters for male and female in Spanish. If you want to take a look at how to get your profile to start working harder for you. Remember I talked about energizing that profile? This is it. Build your brand online. I help people with this all the time, and it's incredible, right? Get that photo. Your LinkedIn profile should be the highlight reel of your career. Tell a beautiful story about who you are and where you're going. And people will read it. You'll be surprised. You know, on a resume, they say that a recruiter only looks at a resume for 30 seconds. 30 seconds. And that's true. If you get 30 seconds. I worked with them now, and it's tough, especially when I am trying to bring Black and brown people into the door, and they only get 30 seconds. That's not fair. Now, at LinkedIn, we don't even use resumes. We just go to your LinkedIn profile. So if you want a job at LinkedIn and you're trying, and your profile's not up to date, that's not going to help you. It's working against you. If you don't want a link job at LinkedIn and your profile's not up to date, that's also not going to help you, because then other companies are looking for people like you. But you don't have your skills, you don't have your value, you aren't sharing your brand, so they'll never know. And 99% of the time, people just see the features section. They see what I've been doing outside of work, and that makes them feel like I could be good at work. I know that's crazy. Like, wait, you want me to do this based on this totally other thing? It doesn't feel like they align, but that's someone that's trying to be competitive, saying, I have this role as I don't know, anything. Let's say like a talent development manager, right? And I see this girl She's doing different things. She's not doing anything that we have on the talent development job description. But I can tell from her livelihood, I can tell by the way that people interact with her on her page, that she can do this job in spades, right? She can do it. And that's what you want to tell. That is where you'll get the value. And this is for everyone in the room. No matter if you're just starting out or, you are about to start your happy new adventure, which is my code word for retirement, because I don't like people to retire. I like you to start a happy new adventure. But this is important for you too, and this is how you stay competitive, because, like you said, we've got 900 million members. That's interconnectedness. That's that resonant. You've already got the collaboration. You've got the engagement up here and all the other things that are going to bring your social consciousness to life, and that's going to keep you competitive in the market. If your LinkedIn is not popping, how do you expect all the companies that are looking to innovate to find you? This space should be innovative for you. We have so many tools like creators. Conscious creators are key. That's what you want. You want conscious creators. And so you also want to show on LinkedIn that you are that too. And if you're a company, you want to be invested in that kind of talent development. People who are freer in their spirit and willing to do a job that is not there. They always say you have to see it to believe it. But I actually think it's the other way around. You have to believe it before you can see it. And that's where all this comes in. That's where the competitiveness is. I believe that I can do all these things. And the company will find you, and if they believe in you too, then you're a good fit. Even when it comes to teams, I was talking about this the other day. Managers should be looking to develop their talent and let them go, like little baby birds. Leave the nest. That helps the team grow, the manager grow, because my team should not be doing the same thing this quarter as it was last quarter, or this year as it was last year. I should have new people with new ideas, new experiences, doing new things. And that is really how you stay competitive, how you keep it going, how social consciousness literally fuels you so that you go to work fueled by love and not by duty. You go to work for peace of mind, right? And passion. I like to say, what do I like to say? Oh, yes. I like to say you should align your passion with your paycheck. Those two things, if you can connect those dots, you will be competitive anywhere that you go. You will walk into a room and know that your presence is felt and that people want to talk to you. They might not even know who you are, but they kind of instantly know that you have something for them. And that starts within you. And that competitiveness cannot be beat. That belonging cannot be circumvented. It's embedded in the culture. It allows you to grow, it allows you to bring other people in, and allows them to grow, right? Makes them feel like home. And then, oh yeah, last but not least, we're here, right? We're here for mind factoring, Mentefactura. This is you all. I want you to take all this information that you learned and know that you have arrived. You are at the pinnacle of social consciousness in the workplace, right? Corporate culture is yours for the taking. It was never there before. That wasn't a thing. But it's here now. You can go into work and be happy, believe it or not. I find joy at work every day, and I help people find joy at work every day. It's possible. And that is what I want for you all here, right? You've got it. The mentality is there. You guys want to be designing. You want to be like building from the ground up, showing the rest of the world that Mexico is where it's at. Guanajuato is where it's at and where they want to be. Because you guys are at the forefront of technology, of culture, of belonging. And that's what people want. They will come back for more each and every time, right? So remember. And last but not least, because I know we wanted to save some time for Q&A, but I just want you guys to remember these things, right? Skills-first hiring, self-respect. You cannot go to work just because. It doesn't feel good. I don't know when the last time you guys have enjoyed wasting your time, but I don't like to do it, especially not for 40-plus hours a week. And so I actually stay competitive by doing less work and innovating more, being more creative, right? Respecting myself and what it is that I do and bringing that to the table. And then, of course, acceptance. That's what I forgot earlier, but I wanted to let you all know acceptance. Accept, from the companies, really, accept that you have to change. Accept that your talent base is phenomenal as they are, and accept that they are unique, that you want them as them, and that they will leave you. They will grow. But that's the goal. That's the goal. That's how you stay competitive. Because if I'm here, remember I told you LinkedIn has a lot of people that come back? Well, if you go here, your LinkedIn, and you go someplace else, you learn something new, then you can come back and help us out too, right? And the reason why I like working at LinkedIn, because the things that we do on the platform changes the world. It's in each and every one of your hands too. I love that. It means so much to me that I go to work on a Monday, and on Friday, there's something out in the world that can save hundreds of thousands of people time, energy, and effort, okay? That brings me meaning, and I want that for all of you. No matter if you're just pushing buttons or you're whiteboarding, designing programs, doesn't matter. You should be able to have that. Self-love, acceptance, respect, also talent development, exercise your privilege, right? Create access to opportunity, expand your power and potential. Know that you are allowed to exist in a space and it be okay. It's okay. When you have a workforce of people that feel that sense of self, you talked about it the other day, the sense of country, that sense of self, it's a whole different ballgame. It really is quite incredible. And so I want you guys to take that away too. And then a next play culture for self-esteem and for trust. Those are really the things that are going to take you to the next frontier. Because what it is about, innovation doesn't have to be flashy. Innovation can be internal, and it can be low and slow, and it can be still incredibly powerful. If you energize and magnetize the city of Guanajuato to be a culture of belonging, you will attract people, companies, missions that need that. They need people with that understanding that they're valuable, that they belong, that they are seen, they're connected, they're supported. Because those are the people that are going to innovate. Because they're not afraid. They're not afraid of losing their job. You shouldn't be, because you can get another one, maybe even a better one, right? They're not afraid of failing. They're not afraid of falling down 7 times and getting back up 8, right? Because some of us start on the ground, but you still got to get up. So this is really what the next frontier is, right? We're encased in all these mountains in here, and we're in the valley, right? This is where we are. You can take this to anywhere around the world, but you have to believe it first before you can see it. And like I said before, this is how you stay competitive. Because there's other companies that are out there that are trying to build products, they're trying to beat AI. No one outdoes Alexa, just forget it. And they are going to struggle because that's not what we need right now. We've had that age, that revolution, right? We've had it a little bit. It'll come back. Everything's cyclical. But we're now in a point where we need to fix our minds and the way we show up at work in order to exercise our right to be human, to create, and to find joy at work and in our lives and everything that we do. Like I said, I don't work for LinkedIn. LinkedIn works for me because I have black and brown people that I need to help. And I don't have $30,000 to just casually give away. I don't have like these big budgets or opportunities, but LinkedIn does. LinkedIn has all of that. Even before I was here and I wanted to speak, LinkedIn had stages for me to speak on, right? I have budgets of hundreds of thousands of dollars for me to go out and make diverse talent just like you feel loved, feel happy. That's it. I just play around with it. I'm like, money, LinkedIn, people, yay. And they love it. They want me to do more of it. And so I ask for more money, and I go out and I encourage more people. But I don't do it for LinkedIn. I do it for them. I give them what they need to succeed. And LinkedIn wins as a byproduct of that, right? I teach them what they need to know, and I find experts that are going to connect with them and relate with them so they can feel seen, feel valued, and valuable. And I know at the end of the day, when they're ready, they'll find me. And I will invite them into our culture of belonging. And I will also let them know that it's okay for them to be themselves. It's okay to be themselves. Before we finish up, I want to share one story of how I did this very simply at work. And it was incredibly powerful. So in the black culture, we have an infamous card game called Spades. And it is something that every black person wants to know how to play. But the secret is, no one teaches you how to play it. So if you don't learn as you get older, you start to feel shame because no one will teach you. It's kind of like, oh, you don't know how to play spades? Absolutely not. Give me your black card right now. No more for you, right? And so in our own culture, over a card game, we are instilling shame, right? Blame, guilt, excommunication. We talked about that. People don't like to feel isolated, and we do it within our own culture over a card game. I mean, it's a serious card game, okay? It's serious, and I love it in particular. But what I didn't love was hearing my employees talk about how sad they were that they didn't know how to play, talking down on themselves. And I'm like, this is crazy. I don't understand why people have to feel like they have to be something else. And now, yes, I might look black, but I struggled with my, feeling black growing up. And so spades meant a lot to me because it connected me with the culture. And it pained me to know that there was people out there disconnected like that. So what did I do? I taught them how to play spades with a PowerPoint. It's very aggressive. A PowerPoint. I got them good and drunk, lots of tequila, and I taught them the card game. And you would be surprised how many people were so grateful. Like, thank you so much for teaching me this game. Now I can play with my cousins at the cookout. And I'm like, what were you doing at the cookout before? Like, why were you not a part of the family? But now they can be, just from a card game. And that was powerful for me. That moment of belonging, to let them know, not only is it okay for them to be black, not only is it okay for them to not know how to play this game, but it's also okay for them to be black at work. It's okay for them to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Not perfect at work. It's a place for them to find joy, especially after the tequilas, at work, okay? And they feel like they belong, and they don't leave. They actually come back to me later and say, Taj, how can I do more of what you're doing? I never thought that I would want to lead people like this. But you showing me that I can belong as myself at work has given me just 1 ounce of power to say, I want to do that for somebody else too. And each and every person that does that knows different things than I know. They do different things. They're connected in different communities. And it is beautiful to see them grow. and we take away the shame, and we take away the guilt, and we don't have any more FOMO. I actually get FOMO because I don't go for lunch, and I can't cook. So I miss out on the good food. But like, that's important. That's how LinkedIn wins. We win in talent because people feel like it's okay to be themselves and they don't have to change in order to be successful. And it works. And I want that for y'all too. I want you to be able to innovate in the next 30 years. This place will be a mecca of silver and gold and opportunity and joy and peace and freedom, most of all. Freedom is for you. So, wrapping up, the next frontier is available. Each and every one of you in this room is phenomenal. You're magnificent. You're an expert. You have skills. Go out there. Exercise them. Show people who you are. And then ask them to allow you to be you. It's so much easier that way. You can create more. Make something out of nothing. And then change the world. Change your pockets. Change your money. Change your life. Whatever you want, it's available to you. So we talked about breakthroughs. And here's my last reference, dating it. I am old. That's the Kool-Aid man. But this is what I want for you guys. Breakthrough to the next frontier, to that culture, that learning, that place where you all love your city because you belong. And you also invite other people into the party so that you grow. You create the foundation of something new, the future, something you've never seen before. You got 30 years to do it. So go ahead, the race is on. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Thank you all so much. Again, my name is Taj Vajay. I really appreciate you being here today. And I would love, if anyone has any questions for me about anything that you heard today or something that just hit your heart and you didn't hear before. And so not to mess up my curls, hold on. Uh-oh. Oh. See. Wait. Oh, there's my ear. Okay. Estoy listas. Yo hablo español un poquito. Preguntas. No?
Hola, Tash.
Hola.
Muchas veces no tenemos en la empresa la cultura que queremos tener. ¿Qué maneras existen para permear la cultura que queremos en la gente que tenemos?
That's a great question. And it has to start with you and creating a grassroots groundswell. So for example, I'm gonna do this back and forth. For example, we have employee resource groups at LinkedIn. It's literally designated groups with designated funds of people so that they feel like they belong, right? So I'm a global leader for our Black Inclusion Resource Group. We've got Latino Resource Group. We've got an LGBTQ Resource Group. However, we didn't have one for people over 40. They were upset that they didn't feel seen. And there were so many new, younger workers coming in that they almost felt like they were being pushed out. Well, what did they do? They got together themselves, they had their conversations, and they said, we want our own ERG. Here's the reasons why. They wrote up a proposal. They formalized it. They got some numbers that said, this culture is not working for us. Here is what we want. Here is why it's valuable, not only to us, but to your bottom line. We saw here today that belonging is good for business. It's profitable. More companies who invest in belonging will make more money over the long run. It's been proven. So when you talk to the company, you say, do you like money? If the answer is yes, this is what we need to do. And it can start small, but then it grows, because if you have a few group of people that are getting their needs met, they're going to perform better. And once they start to perform better, other people around them are going to too. And you will see everything just uplift, where now the people at the top have no choice but to say, all right, let's change some things. Let's give them what they want. They want snacks, you get snacks. You want a 4-day work week, you get 4-day work week. We kind of did that too. We told them that we were sick and tired, and we didn't want to be here anymore, like as a company. That's another thing you can do. Get surveys so that you can speak your mind about what's happening, and the leaders should read it and trust it and take heed to it. So we told them. And what did LinkedIn do? This was like right around the pandemic. They did a few things. They gave us more access to health insurance, like therapy, right? We had maybe 13, which is, I don't know, once a month, right? That was easy math. However, when we said we needed more, they gave us 26. Now that's 2 times a month. That's pretty good, right? But they wouldn't have known if we didn't tell them. And we told them why we needed that. Because we can't think. We can't innovate. You, in the pandemic, we didn't have any clients. No one had any money. So, like, you're about to also lose your workers too. We're going on strike. We need more. And they responded. So there has to be kind of like a pack of people who are willing to talk about it nonstop until you get what you need. Because it's important. But you got to put it out to them in numbers. A lot of the miscommunication in the relationship, right? That's the number one thing in a relationship, lack of communication. So how do you bridge that gap? How are the executives thinking? What are their goals? What are their bottom lines? What are they being held to? And how do you pitch what you need to these things? And if once they see that, they would be silly not to oblige you, because you are the heart of that company, the people. Human capital is the most important capital of any corporation. So that's what I would do. That's what I've seen done, and it works. It does take time, but just spin the story over and over and over again. I'm actually doing it right now, and I'll be transparent with you. It's taken almost a year. We are trying to create an innovation team for our Black and Latino engineers because they have never been able to work with one another. Isn't that crazy? In America, Black and Latino engineers do not work with each other because there's just not enough of them in the room. They've never shipped code. I would cry if that were the case. So we're now building a team because the culture that we have, they say they can't, it doesn't relate. It's not the same. So, okay, what do you need? Let's build a team like that. We got a team, we want them to build products for LinkedIn so that they can put their name to it. So they can say, as a Black person, as a Latino person, I made this product on LinkedIn and it's changing lives. And it's also gonna help their career package so that they can go to their manager and say, I wanna get promoted and here's what I've been doing. And this team is amazing, everyone loves it, but we have to talk to the different departments, get people on board, get executives to buy in. And they buy in, but they've been giving us a runaround. And we won't stop. We keep knocking down the doors. I've got a call with the VP of engineering next month, and I'm gonna tell him straight up, we need this. Here's why. And if you don't, you're going to keep losing Black and Latino engineers. They will walk out the door. And if he cares, he's got to pay up. He's got to do what we need him to do. And he will. I'm quite persuasive. I'm excited.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes.
Okay, I'm a com- well,
Oh,
I'm a computer science student, and I have applied
Yes, yes.
the last summer to many internships position in those big tech companies. But every time I apply, I get rejected very fast. Like I didn't pass the CB filter, I think, because I never get an interview. And I'm pretty sure that if I get the opportunity of an interview, I could do a very good job because, yeah, I think I have good qualities. But do you have any advice to fight against that filter, that first filter?
yes, I do. So this is one of my favorite things, actually, because application process is like a black hole. You have your resume, you spend so much time on it, you apply to all these jobs, it goes nowhere, right? You never get a call back, and you do that hundreds of times. You know, they say finding a job is a job within itself because of that. So you use LinkedIn. You find someone, I'm gonna go back. You go to whatever company you wanna work at, you find people there that you know, or someone that you knows that someone's there, and you talk to them. You ask them for an informational interview. And before you do that, you're gonna go and you're gonna find that company, you're gonna find their vision, their mission, right? And you're gonna go to the informational interview, and you're gonna say, I wanna work here because this is what you guys do, and this is what I do. This is what I excel at. My purpose in life is this, and it will behoove your company to take me on because it sounds like this is what you need. And if you tell that to someone in the company, they will go and tell it to 2 other people. And those 2 other people will tell it to 3 other people. And then you'll get in front of, hopefully, always ask for what you need, to speak to a recruiter and tell them that story. Connect the dots between who you are and what the company needs in innovation. How are you creating more for them, even as an intern, right? Because ideally, we'd want you to be a full-time employee if you're good at what you do. So sell it to them now. You're not an intern, you're a C-level executive, you know? You just haven't aged yet. But you're there, it's still in you. Bring that out. You're not a worker. You're not an employee. You are you. You are valuable. And the only reason why you're not getting the call back is because they're not seeing that. So you have to be consistent on showing up. Go to your LinkedIn profile. Tell the story of what you want. This is your highlight reel of your career. I do this all the time for folks. I love it. In your summary, be vulnerable, tell your story. In your experience, tell each job as from the perspective of the job that you want, right? So you want a job, you say, I've already done these things in my life. Here's 3 different companies I've done them at. You shouldn't hesitate to hire me for this job. Energize your profile so that people come to you. What I want everyone to know is we saw here there were lots and lots of schools and stuff and companies and all that jazz, right? LinkedIn, a lot of people don't know how LinkedIn makes money. One of the main money generators for us, what keeps the lights on, is LinkedIn Recruiter. We charge companies a lot of money to have access to the back end of LinkedIn where they can see your profile without you ever knowing. They are in there every single day. That's their job, all day long, 40 hours a week. They're looking through these 900 million members trying to find someone for their job. And it's their job to find you. They get paid to find people. So if you energize your profile, they will find you. They will find you based on the skills, right? They'll find you based on the experience, your thought leadership. As an intern, are you doing any volunteering? Are you have any stories you can put in your features section? All these different things are like attention grabbers. Because remember, 30 seconds, right? 30 seconds. So you gotta get in there, get it quick, and be very descriptive and intentional about what you put out on your brand. And they will find you. They really will. There's literally 900 million of them, 40 hours a week, looking for people just like you. But they're not gonna find it if it's not working as hard, because they're lazy. No offense, they're lazy, okay? And you have to circumvent that a little bit. If you wanna be lazy, I will be extra amazing, and then you'll find me. And that's what they want. Make their job easy for them.
Thank you.
Yeah. Dos preguntas.
Última
Más,
pregunta,
más.
por favor.
¿Sí? Dos.
Hi, Josh. Great talk. Thank you for that. I have two children, teenagers. I want to know if Lincoln has something to teach the teenagers to become great, to grab and learn those skills you were talking about. And I want to know, please.
Yes, we do. And you're in luck, because we're really trying to activate that market more. We are doing, I don't fully know, but I've been hearing through the grapevine, like a LinkedIn for kids. I don't know, but it's coming, watch out. And also we have LinkedIn Learning. We've got literally thousands of different courses, beginner courses, introductory courses. So if your student is interested in learning something now that they might not have access to, you can go online and learn it on LinkedIn. And you'll get a certificate so you can let people know that you've been studying this information. There's also, what we're trying to grow out is like a mentor match. Remember that innovation team I was telling you about, my Black and Latino engineers? This is their first project we want them to work on, right? Part of it is where you can go as a student, as a kid, and say, I think I want to be a marketing executive. Can you match me with a mentor in Mexico who does marketing so that I can learn from them? And we're making sure that our platform can connect those individuals together, because that creates access to opportunity. We believe that the #1 issue for diverse talent is the network gap, that we don't have a strong enough network to get us the jobs that we need and connect us with the right people that can get us in. And it's true. So then how do we close the gap? I would even encourage you, if you do have a child who wants to do marketing, you go onto your LinkedIn and connect with marketing people that you know and say, hey, can I get an hour of your time to tell my kid about marketing? If they want to know about a sexy flu commercial, you can call me. I'll help. But yeah, that was when I was working in pharmaceuticals. But those are the things. LinkedIn is such a powerful platform. Not many people really know the true power behind it, but look at these numbers. Whatever school you want, it's there. Whatever they want to know. That's content, right? Billions of pieces of content of knowledge being shared on LinkedIn. You can even follow people so that when they're doing things that are exciting, you'll get it in your feed, and so on and so forth. And we also have live events. And audio-based events, where you can literally tap into experts for free talking about all these different types of things. And so you're learning while you're still growing, and it's free of charge. So get connected like that on the platform and tap into that learning that's available. I think we have one more question over here. Yep. One more question back there? Oh, and another one here. I got time.
Hola.
Hola.
Bueno, yo soy Headhunter, tengo una empresa de reclutamiento y me gustaría que me dieras un consejo porque, pues bueno, yo no estoy dentro de las empresas de mis clientes. Sin embargo, trato yo mucho a la hora de hacer las entrevistas, pues fijarme más en lo que es la persona más que en sus estudios y demás. pero choco mucho con las empresas porque siguen teniendo como esta idea como muy, no sé si cuadrada o de antes, pero si no es mujer, no, si no es hombre, no, si no tiene la licenciatura, maestría, y a lo mejor las habilidades sí las tienen. Pero yo como empresa no quiero perder a mi cliente. Entonces, ¿cómo yo puedo hacer para expresarles a la empresa o que les den la oportunidad a mis candidatos de sí tener por lo menos una entrevista, cuando ya a lo mejor desde antes me dicen no porque es hombre, no porque, no sé si me expliqué?
Great question. And I did this for several years. It was my number one thing I did, working with, like I said, thousands of different companies on their recruiting strategy. And I faced this a lot. And it's very disheartening. So I feel your pain, where they're antiquated in their ideas. There's like a good old boy club in place, and they want to only hire people that look like them. Quick example, I had an executive, older white male, who literally was like, I want to hire someone who looks like me. And I was like, did you say those words out of your mouth? You can't do that. But that's what they want. It's true. So there's a few things that you could try. And I think your uphill battle is the mindset shift. And I've done this, and it's quite interesting. But one thing I would do is, when it comes to the psychology of the mind, there are ways that you can, well, maybe you might try removing pictures, removing identifiable information, so that when you present the resume, it's literally just skills and facts. They have no idea, and they have to decide on whether that set of skills is good for the role. And that you can help break that unconscious bias, because they get excited about it. They're like, oh my God, this person seems perfect. And then in walks something that would have rejected before, but they can't say no because they've already felt the energy and the goodness of that person for the role. So a lot of times that will help, taking away some of those things. We've even got tools on LinkedIn where you can remove your picture and all that stuff. As a recruiter as well too, you can do unconscious bias recruiting, which will eliminate a lot of those identifiers so that you're unbiased process. I also used to teach candidates, not candidates, recruiters and hiring managers, how to search for diversity on LinkedIn, where you are connecting with that person's culture. So for example, I would say, all right, you're looking for a team member. If you want someone who is Latino or someone who is black, here are some places you can go. We have different sororities and fraternities that are specific for black and Latino folks. Why don't you look through that, right? Why don't you use that as a filter to find people? As you're talking to your recruiters and you're hearing what they want, is there another element that you can use to find individuals so that it's someone who looks different but feels the same? Does that make sense? It's like I used to do, I'm trying to think of what it was. I always used to tell people to think of adjacent industries. So if you are in finance and you have a job, does that person have to be in finance? Can that person be in media and bring a different perspective to that financial element? Can that person be in, manufacturing? And once you start asking deeper and better questions to the hiring manager, you'll start to tease out more of these elements of belonging that you can use to find better people. And I don't want to say better because the person's not bad, right? But better for them to get on board with trying something on new. And then, of course, show them the numbers. Do you have other clients who are successful with diverse candidates? And maybe you can give those retention numbers to say, my other clients are seeing 30% increase in the work they do and their retention. You should give this a shot. But it's tough. It's a tough position you're in. Anytime I did it, I would tell them, give me 30 minutes and I'll change your mind on diversity. And they didn't believe me. But at the end of that 30 minutes, wow, yes, I told you. So there's opportunities out there, there's proof, and you kind of just got to like, the proof is in the pudding. And then also let them know the next frontier of corporate culture is about belonging, and you are not activating that. You're actually rejecting people for no reason. And so they need to evaluate that, because the workers today, the millennials, the Gen Zs, they're not going to want to be at that company. And that is the problem. So it's like, do you want to succeed or not? And if so, then you should consider this. Because actually, diverse candidates they last longer, right? If there's a good culture there and you've got someone that's different, you'll have a better team for longer doing more impactful things. So, good luck. Any more questions? Then we had one over here. I don't know how we're doing on time, but you all let me know. See? No? No more questions? Works for me.
Me gustaría saber cuál es tu opinión personal y honestamente, ¿cuál sería tu recomendación en decidir si estudiar una carrera de una forma tradicional en una universidad o con estos nuevos oportunidades que ofrece como Coursera, como Google Skills, Google Certified, EDX, etcétera? ¿Cuál sería la recomendación hoy que tú harías a los demás para tomar un camino profesional? ¿Y cuál es el futuro laboral dentro de esas dos ramas?
Yes, okay. So, I want to make sure I got the question right. The question is, I know what you said, but I'm like, how do I put the words together? You want to know, you want advice on traditional education versus non-traditional. Yeah? Yes. I've taken a lot of classes on Coursera. If you ever heard of lynda.com, that's what LinkedIn Learning is. We bought lynda.com, and so we have LinkedIn Learning. And you're actually in luck. There is a big push and wave for more companies to be receptive to non-traditional backgrounds. And there's a significance behind that, right? Diversity of thought, diversity of experience, all that is documented to be helpful for your bottom line. And places like Coursera, if you have a certificate, companies are encouraging that to say, that is experience. That's skills first hiring, right? So if you are interviewing for a company, that could be one of your questions. You always ask, oh, do you have any questions for me? Do you guys employ skills first hiring? Are you looking for people that have experience and expertise, or do you just want someone that went to a university? Because at the end of the day, if your goals don't align with the company, it's never going to be a good fit for you. So you have to be willing to ask, hey, are you guys going to do right by me, in a sense? Because I have valuable experience, I just don't have, I don't even want to say you just don't have anything, because that's not true. You have everything that you need. I would also encourage you to find companies that employ that as a value. There's a lot of companies that will say, we value the diversity of our talent pool. And so those are the companies that you want to go for. Because if you think about it, engineers have boot camps, right? They don't have to go to university. They can do a coding boot camp and still get a job as an engineer. What makes that boot camp more valuable than your non-traditional education, right? It shouldn't be. It should be exactly the same. And you should be allowed to get a job, because at the end of the day, they're going to teach you what you need to do anyway. So why does it matter where you learned how to live your life and how to be an expert at what's best at you? So I would say, my advice would be to find companies that align with who you are and how you are like bringing your life together, how you're transforming, because they're out there. The ones that want individuals that have more experience in education, because a lot of times universities, they don't give you the best information, right? Sometimes they don't give you things that work all the time. I went to school for interior design. I don't design interiors at LinkedIn. I left that industry almost immediately after I graduated. So my degree is a load of woo-foo, right? It's nothing. It's coloring books, connect-the-dot coloring books. It's even worse. However, to be honest with you, no one gives a shit about what school I went to. They don't. They don't even ask, and I don't care to tell them, because my story is powerful. The energy that I have when I walk into a room and I know that I'm supposed to be here and this is the job that I want, they stop caring. You know, there's a lot of professionals out there that don't have certificates, don't have licenses, but they're still experts at what they do. They're still good, and that is what you're trying to exude. So show up in your authenticity and enter those interviews like, what I have is what you want, period. That's it. And if you have that respect and that love for yourself and that esteem, you will get the job. You will find companies that want you. And then get on your LinkedIn profile and tell that story there too. And those companies will come. You can even say, I'm open to work and I'm looking for companies that value non-traditional experience. Be honest. And you will find a recruiter that goes, oh, I'm looking for that. Let me see what his experience is and how can I use that to fill the job that I have available. I hope that helps. Good, I'm glad.
There you go.
That's,
Tash,
yes, I think that's our
thank
time.
you very much for being here and for the conference. Un fuerte aplauso, por favor, para Tash. De verdad, gracias. You give us a photograph to remember this moment, please.
Thank you very much.
Emi, si nos apoya con señal de Mentefactura.
Yes. Okay. I'll hold it. There we go.
Así. Despidamos con un fuerte aplauso a Tash Abash de LinkedIn. De verdad, muchísimas gracias por estar aquí en el
Gracias.
Valle de la Mentefactura.
I feel so loved.